Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We are live at the Toll House Hotel at the Verge Restaurant. Just a second, we'll give you some information more about that, and I'll invite my guests in just a couple of minutes. We're with you 5 days a week, live at KDOW, 1220 a.m. You could tune in. Also, if you missed the live show, you could always download the podcast at iTunes or reradiolive.com. For 8 years now, it's been the same thing. The objective of the show has been education and information. We work really hard to have great guests like today, good content to help you, the consumer, make wise decisions with your real estate, in and out of real estate. Also, during the show, live, if you'd like to reach us, the number is 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220 if you have any questions for our guests. Also, we're a live show here today, live in the event here at the Toll House Hotel at the Verge Restaurant. If you guys want to come down, there's still time. We have the live radio show from 3 to 4, and then the mixer from 4 to 6. And if you have any questions for the guests, actually, in the audience here, if you have any questions for our guests in between, you're more than welcome to come up and ask these experts, the guests here, as we get underway. All right, let's get started. Let me introduce my guests here today. We have John Melo and Larry Matos, the founders of Century 21 M&amp Associates. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
How about a round of applause for these gentlemen? And also joining us this afternoon, Frank Fuentes. He's the National Vice President of Multicultural Lending for New American Funding. Good to have you here, Frank. A round of applause for Frank.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Before we get started, guys, why don't we do this? If you could each give us, take about a minute, give us a little bit about your background and then your current roles and responsibilities in your company at this time. Frank, you want to get started?
Sure. I've been in the mortgage business 17 years, coming up on 18 years. I was one of the first loan officers at New American Funding 17 years ago, so very proud to say that. I've helped literally thousands of families get into homes with sustainable home loans, and happy to be here today. Thank you.
Very good.
John Melo,
John?
Thanks for
welcome.
Thanks for the invite. It's wonderful to be here. Larry Matos and I founded Century 21 M&amp Associates in 1994, and with 2 agents, and here today. And we've been, the past decade, we've been top 5 with Century 21 in the world, top 5 companies, and we've been number 1 for years in a row. So we're pretty proud of our history and what we've done. And so I will let Larry explain a little more.
Very good.
Well, thank you, Joe, first of all, for allowing us on your show here.
My pleasure.
So, this is live, so I apologize.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
I didn't quite realize we were going to have an audience here, but this is great. You do a great job here. So, like John said, we've been in business since 1994. I started real estate actually in 93 when I was 18. Bought our first franchise when I was 19, so it's been 24 years.
Oh, wow.
And, kind of the rest is history. We have 31 offices and 31 offices. See, I got to get closer here. Got your guy in the back telling me. We have 31 offices, 1,250 agents company-wide, and we service, Northern California, Bay Area through the coast as well.
And our goal was to have more offices than I have siblings. Since I have 13 siblings, we finally beat that.
Very good. Well, you guys have had tremendous success. I know that, first of all, starting a company like that is not easy, and then the statistics are unbelievable. After 5 years, how many companies fail. You guys have continued to grow, and you've had a lot of success, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Really good to have you guys here today.
Thank you.
Maybe we get started, John or Larry, if either one of you want to kind of give us an overview of the market. We're certainly here in the Bay Area. I know you guys have offices in the Central Valley and in Northern California, certainly here in the Bay Area as well. Give us kind of an idea, an overview of your thoughts of the market right now, specifically Silicon Valley and the ones that you serve.
Well, a couple of things. One, we just went over the market stats or market conditions yesterday. We have an awesome team with the 31 offices. We have some VIPs, Julio Ashante, which you had a podcast with Julio, and as well as Angelo. And they gave us an update on all our market areas. Plus, we were just at a CAR meeting downtown San Jose to discuss market conditions and projections and where it's been and where it's going. But Larry is the expert on market conditions. That's his sweet spot. So I'll let him have that discussion.
I'm not about an expert, but I have some knowledge on it. And the CAR meeting was not actual cars we drive. It was California Association of Realtors. So we had a meeting there with some other top brokers from the area. I mean, we live in a very unique place. So California is a state like no other. And when it comes to real estate, it is really, that is really true. I met with some folks from Portugal, actually, Century One in Portugal and Spain. They're in San Francisco last weekend. Stopped by and I visited with them, and they said, man, the California market is unbelievable compared to the rest of the country and even to the world. Right. So we live in a very unique place here. Silicon Valley, Santa Clara County inventory is still very, very tight, somewhere around 750 units. Average days on market is less than 30. Prices are continuing to rise, and if you look at really what's happening here is we're the mecca of technology. You have some great worldwide companies that are based here, and people want to live close to where they work. So, and there's really not a lot of land left in Santa Clara County, so people are going either South County or they're actually going east inland, or you're starting to see some vertical construction that's going on, housing some sky rises that are going on with Google and what they're doing. So.
Have you guys ever seen anything like this since you've been in this business? I mean, in terms of the values, the appreciation. I mean, there's the job-centric center we have here in Silicon Valley, all the announcements of high-tech, what they're doing. It's incredible. It's
been a little unique. In 2005, we lived through that, great price appreciation and the great crash and kind of where we're at today. So in 2005 was very different because it was really, I think, led by lending practices that really created that excitement, that energy where people were getting loans, very easily. Rates were very competitive. Well, today that has changed. So as you guys know better than I do, lending practices are very stable. They're very responsible, only to good, solid borrowers. But what's leading this drive really has been the job market has been extremely strong, low unemployment, high wages, and high-tech companies that are just doing so well. But they're, these are really... We think they're Silicon Valley companies. These are worldwide companies that are based in Silicon Valley. That's the biggest difference. These are worldwide companies that really touch everybody, around the globe.
Very good. Well, Frank, let me move to you. You travel around the country. You've been with New American for years, obviously, expert in this area. But even more in traveling, I know you meet with a lot of different people in the industry, real estate, lending, different cultures, backgrounds. Give us, if you can, the audience a little overview of what you're seeing in terms of buying, purchasing, real estate, lending, as you travel around the United States. Give us kind of a high-level view, if you will.
Sure. I think what I see is the minute that I step outside of California, it in many aspects, it really is a different world in terms of inventory. For example, we were just in Dallas for a big National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professional convention, and it sounded like there was tons of inventory in and around the Dallas area. Our El Paso markets are also thriving. Plenty of inventory, new builder, new construction. Florida is another one. In Central Florida, Orlando, they seem to be having an influx of home buyers that are coming up from Miami into Central Florida. Chicago, very similar as far as inventory goes to what we're seeing here in the Silicon Valley. Very tight on inventory. Affordability is getting out of touch in some markets there. So it really varies. I've seen this variance just across the country in the different markets that I've been into.
Very good. So a lot of these different, you're seeing, are you also witnessing that the inventory issues are, I mean, it sounds like there are challenges not all over the place, but it seems to be a problem.
Yes, and it definitely is in Southern California, where I'm from in Orange County. very, very similar situation as to what you're having here. And in many cases, we have to resort now to getting really, really creative on our loan products. We were just having a conversation yesterday with some of our loan officers about starting to incorporate more renovation-type loans. I personally was dealing with a millennial couple yesterday where they were priced out in their price point. There was nothing they really liked that was turnkey, and they're the ones who suggested, hey, what if we take a look at a renovation type loan where we can finance the renovation of this property. And it was a property that the acquisition price was, I'll give you the example real quick, it was $575,000, and they were looking at financing about $100,000, $125,000 in renovations, but the comps in the area were in the 800 plus range. Okay. Which I thought was fantastic.
Instant equity.
Yes. Instant equity. Well, we're going to take a break here in just a minute. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversations. We're going to come back and talk a little more about, I want to hear about the growth, or you guys have plans, some of the plans, Larry and John, what do you guys have going the next couple of years? And then in the next couple of segments, I'm excited to then share, exchange with these gentlemen a little bit about real estate and technology and lending. Where is that going? Is it really changing? What kind of aspects, what types of things are going to happen when it comes to that? So it'll be interesting to hear from you guys on that as well when we come back. All right, a couple different things if you'd like to call in. If you have any questions for these gentlemen, 1-800-516-1220. Or if you're in the audience and you have any questions for the gentlemen, you could come up in between the breaks and feel free to ask them. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're live from the Toll House Hotel at the Verge Restaurant in Los Gatos. Come on down and join us. We'll be back to continue in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Hi, this is Joe Kuchera of Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We are your go-to resource for all aspects of real estate, including buying, selling, refinancing, building, and legal and tax advice, and much more. You can subscribe to Real Estate Radio Live podcast on iTunes and Stitcher to listen to an engaging discussion about anything and everything real estate. So make sure you get our app, RE Radio Live, in the iTunes store to follow the show.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. We are live remote from the Toll House Hotel in Los Gatos, the Verge Restaurant. Still time for you to come on down and join us. It's an industry event, but we love consumers too. So if you you listen to the show, you follow the show or the podcast, come on down and say hello. Again, it's in Los Gatos, Toll House Hotel. Today we have some special guests with us, John Melo and Larry Matos, the founders of Century 21 M&amp and Associates. They're with us. And also Frank Fuentes, he's the National Vice President of Multicultural Lending at New American Funding. Welcome again back, gentlemen. Exciting times, but it's also super competitive, this market with low inventory. There's a bunch of stuff to get to here. But first, what are the plans for you guys, Century 21 M&amp, over the next couple of years? Can you disclose, or is it private, or...?
Everything's confidential. If you
grow.
Hey,
right?
If you promise not to tell anyone.
Okay.
The plans. Larry and I, like I said, we go back. We grew up together. He actually went to school with my younger brother, and we've learned over the years, Joe, that you may have a plan, and then there's the plan.
Yeah.
So over the years we've learned that we plan. We have our plan, our business plan, and we plan our growth, and we plan where we want to head. However, we allow it to change as things, as the industry changes, as the market changes, and so our goal is to keep growing, is to provide more services to our customers, more tools to our agents, and hopefully to double the size of our company. In 2010 we doubled our size of our company, and we have a few things on the plan right now that could take us there the next few months to a couple of years, and we're excited. And so, but you'll be the first to know, Joe.
Good. That's good to know.
We'll announce it on your radio,
there you
Joe.
go. Perfect.
Yeah, it gives us an opportunity.
You guys are welcome
to come
anytime,
back.
by the way. You could, if you're not here, you could even call in and talk.
Oh, excellent. We'll do FaceTime.
Yeah, there you go. So, it sounds like the strategy, the plan is in place, but again, not necessarily maybe adding new offices. You look at each situation. Maybe it's adding more people to existing offices. So it will just depend on different markets, different times, and opportunities present themselves, I'm guessing.
Exactly. We just we're going live. We just are opening up next week, as a matter of fact, a brand new branch in Fresno, California.
Oh, great.
So we're excited about that. And then we're looking in other areas to expand as well. So, yeah, the plan is always to grow. Our team is always recruiting. So we're always looking. Being one, like I said earlier, being one of 14 kids, Mom and Dad always said there's room for one more at the table. We'd show up with a friend, grab a plate, and we'd clean the pots. So
everything is solved by eating, isn't it?
Exactly.
No matter what problems you have, just eat.
It's my favorite. Every day's a holiday when it comes to eating for me, anyway. So I got to watch out a little bit. But the reality is that I was talking to some of our team the other day. And folks say, well, I want to grow with a company. Where are the opportunities? And my response is, the only problem a company, in my opinion, has is when you want to grow and you don't have the talent. You never have too much talent, because if you do have the talent, you will grow to provide the opportunities. So, yeah.
Well said.
So there's always room for one more great person.
Very good. All right, Frank.
Yes, sir.
Millennial country. I mean, for years, all we've heard you guys to know about the baby boomers and the baby boomers this, the baby boomers that. Now, we may be feeling a little bit slighted because move on over. Here comes the millennials. I know you focus a lot, and again, out and around, not lose sight of everything else. But give us a little idea of how the millennial movement might be changing in the face of both lending and real estate. And I'll ask John and Larry, of course, to speak a little bit to that too. But Talk a little bit about that, because I know you're immersed in that on a daily basis.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, what's important to recognize about the millennial generation, and I'm sure these gentlemen are very well aware of that, is that 46% of them identify them as minorities. So there's a very high percentage of diverse background millennials in this country. So out of the 92 million millennials that are estimated to be out there today, 1 out of 5 is of Hispanic origin, and 46 are from a diverse background. So in marketing, in recruiting, in outreach, whether we're talking to professionals in the industry or consumers, it's very, very, very important to be culturally keen in your outreach. I was just in Washington, D.C. last week at a panel with Freddie Mac. And it was the same discussion we were having there as we're having today, is how do we better serve the millennial generation? And the main answer, it always pointed back to having that culturally keen, cultural awareness of the needs of those millennials, whether you're hiring them or whether you're serving them. Okay, so it's very, very important to have the right individuals in place and recognize those nuances within the different cultures.
It's interesting, on millennials, at our Century 21 Global Conference in Las Vegas in March, we had a panel of millennials, and because this is a big topic now, is how do you service the millennials. And these millennials had bought a home in the last 12 months, so they did a panel, and everybody thinks that technology really drives the buying process. Technology really drives maybe the lead generation and where they do their research, is what the millennials told us, is they all started searching online, whether it was through Zillow, Realtor.com or Century21.com. But when it came down to making a decision to pick the realtor, out of the 10 panelists, 9 went with a family friend referred to them by their parents or by a relative.
Right.
They said they didn't know anybody, but they did all their searches online, and then they went and asked their parents, "Hey, who should I buy with? Go call Larry Matos, or go call John Melo." So it's very interesting and telling. We think that they pick the realtor, or the lender maybe through the website, but it's not so. Actually, they do their research, through these websites. But when they pick a loan officer or they pick a realtor, it's still through referrals.
Yeah.
It's through somebody that they trust.
No, I would agree. I mean, the research shows, it's interesting, that panel, because that goes really hand in hand with the research tells us that 95% of people start their search online.
They get their search online.
However, you almost have 9 out of 10, it's 88% or something like that, then choose to use a qualified realtor.
Right.
So you have a more educated buyer, right, or seller, regardless of, there's no more, that information's at their fingertips. The difference is when they go to make a choice, most people still see the quality in using it and the idea and the benefit, the value in using a qualified realtor.
Right. I think for a homeowner or somebody that's doing a loan out there or that's buying a house, this is a great time, because now if somebody is suspicious of a realtor or a loan officer, there's no reason to be suspicious, because you have all the information that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So through the technology platforms that are out there, you have all the pricing, you have properties that have sold, properties that are active, great photos, great interior shots, all the loan products, payment schedules, everything is very transparent. It's really teaming up with a great realtor and with a great loan officer to make sure that they find the right home and the right loan for you.
Yeah.
One thing I think is important to note here is, in my research and from what I've done with my presentations on the Hispanic millennial generations, and not only for the Hispanic millennials, but millennials as a whole, that there's a big push, and there's a big push with getting testimonials and getting the testimonials online. And not only is it important for us to get them so we can offer the transparency to our consumers, but even Google and certain search engines are figuring it into their algorithm, where they're taking the weight of the consumer testimonials in your rankings as a realtor, and using those in ranking your Google search results. So I think that's important.
Very good. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with these gentlemen. We're going to get more into technology specifically. How is it changing the industry? What models work? Maybe what models won't work? And much, much more. Again, if you have any questions, if you're listening, 1-800-516-1220. Or if you're in the audience, if you have some questions, come on up. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're live at the Toll House Hotel. We'll be back with you to continue the live show in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. We're live from the Toll House Hotel in Los Gatos, the Verge Restaurant. If you're listening to this show and you're driving around in your car or wherever you are, come down and join us. We'd love to see you, love to meet you. Got a good group of people here. Looking forward to even more exciting show. We hope that we provide some information and education. That's really what this show's been about for almost 8 years. The objective has been the same, and that is, when I started the show, is to provide the consumers with education and information to make them more wise. And really, not to make them experts, you guys, but the idea is just educate them, right? And it's kind of interesting. We were talking about they become more educated now online. That's where they start their search. That's where they start the beginning. But, Frank, you and I were talking a little bit earlier, too. I think all of you guys would agree that still to this day, we feel like, when you think about it, it's like, oh, my God, we have this educated economy and things are going full steam ahead and all these wonderful technology advancements. The bottom line is that a lot of people still are naive about lending in real estate. Even someone that's been doing this for, buying multiple homes or, the second home, the move-out home, first time. Do you guys find that maybe it's because of the changes, maybe there's some intimidation still, that they do want good help and good support?
And I think, and naive, it's interesting that you say that. I think people that have done this multiple times, either they've bought multiple properties or done multiple loans, typically it's been with great realtors and lenders that they truly trust them, and they basically say, where do I sign? Once they kind of negotiate, price terms, after that, it's like, where do we sign? Yeah. So I know I've done that with, when I work with my realtors, it's, hey, where do we sign? Or with a good banker, our commercial bank. And so I think it's that level of trust. Once you have a level of trust with somebody you're working with, they're going to guide you in the right direction.
Very good. Let's dive into the future a little bit, because it's coming, it's here. I think most of us would be naive, speaking of naive, to think that every industry is under attack. And when I say under attack, it's not in a bad way. Things are changing. Technology's changing, the way people think, the way people operate. You don't need to go too far to understand what's going on. And I think we would be foolish, all of us, to think that our industry is not going to be changed by it or affected by it. There's nearly $3 billion a year that's going into changing our prospective industries. So, Frank, I'll start with you. What does New American need to do? What do you think? What's going on behind the scenes to better prepare New American funding for the future?
I think number one, talking about education, I think in the industry we all need to do a better job of providing education. And now with all the technology and the social media, is leverage those platforms to provide education in small bites, in a way that it's digestible and that consumers from all experience levels can really grasp the basic concepts of obtaining a loan and purchasing a home. And at New American Funding, the owners of our company have really invested a lot of resources into our marketing and outreach department. Again, having a very, very diverse and culturally keen marketing department. We've got a staff of almost 60 individuals, a lot of them millennials, that bring a lot of value and collaboration when it comes to creating this educational and outreach content.
Got it. Very good. Same thing, guys. It's a lot of different models, a lot of concepts. People are talking. What's your take on this?
Well, probably the wrong person to ask.
No.
Well, keep in mind, I'm an immigrant. We came to this country in the 70s. So change is normal for me. And again, from a large family, change is normal. Competition is normal. And in the back end, we have everything we need. We have the technology, the systems, the tools. We keep growing, perfecting, teaching, educating it. However, what's most important, that I think the key to success is the ability to adapt and change. And sometimes the frustration comes, and I keep discussing this with our team, is if you can remember the rotary phone, then you're the personality that we need to work a lot with, because if you remember the rotary phone, a lot of knowledge comes with that. And we have a lot of great folks that remember the rotary phone. Means they're very deep in knowledge. However, the challenge is, and speaking about millennials and all that great stuff, keep in mind that Larry and I started in 1994. He was barely 20, and I was in my early 20s. That's not the typical broker in 1994. No. Maybe not even today. That's not the typical broker. So we went up against the norm. The one thing, we were two ethnic guys, very young, going up to your typical, if you profile, which is illegal, but if you profile in those days, and Trump said I could use that word today, I tweeted him. But just kidding. I don't want to offend anybody. But if you profile a broker in those days, they're your typical. Probably the youngest would be 50, white, female or male, into their 70s. Everybody else was not to be taken seriously. We started with 2 agents in 94, and we kept at it. So when somebody says, are you, all these companies with billions? Yes, but keep in mind, Joe, that, and this is another thing we keep discussing, we provide a service. This is purchasing a home for most people is the biggest investment they'll make when it comes to getting a loan and to buying and purchasing a home. So therefore, it's not something you can order online through Amazon or through Front Door or whomever and have it delivered to your doorstep. It's somebody, going back to Larry's point, it's somebody that you have to find a realtor with the knowledge and the best transactions financially and and headache-wise, the best transactions are done with great realtors. So when you get those recommendations is when you're going to get that home that you always dreamed of.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think what you said earlier, I want to touch on quickly, and that is the mindset of all of us that have been in this industry I think the latest statistics, I think, in both of our respective industries in the I think the 50s, right? That's kind of the average age, the mid-50s.
Yes. Still to today. Still to today. So
the challenge...
The only problem is we'll be there sooner than we'd like to. So it's no longer... we're no longer the kids.
So the idea is more so, how do you educate, communicate to your existing crew to make the adjustments? Not necessarily, I mean, they may be great at service, but what about the person that says, John, Larry, I've done this the way I've done it for 30 years. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to change. Yeah. I'm not saying that happens, but what do you do with
those folks? Are looking for those folks are looking for an early retirement. However, we have all the tools and systems, including our own Facebook network called Workplace. We communicate every day. As a matter of fact, we did live.
I saw that
with our
nice
VPs.
Job.
We did Facebook Live and we did at Workplace Live. At Workplace Live is a company circuit that only our folks.
That's awesome.
It's only our folks see it, and that's when we have those open discussions with our leadership team, and all of our realtors and staff can log on, watch it live, or replay it. But it does take a lot of communication. Fear is a destination to end any business model. So there's two things you need to do. You need to not allow Amazon to take over like Borders and bookstores did. They could have done the same thing as Amazon. They could have gone online. They could have made it easier, faster for those millennials and for anybody that wanted to shop online. See, the thing is, you can't ignore progress. You have to adapt, adjust, and emulate it and get on the train and find a way to get on a train, and that's how you survive. You can't go opposite direction at all times.
Yeah. Frank, you have any more on that before we move along a little bit about any thoughts? The industry, the changes, the future. I mean, I know that Patty and Rick are working hard every day in this area. For sure, you mentioned a little bit to it.
I just need to stress that the importance of social media, especially for realtors and loan officers, for marketing purposes, for personal branding. I still see a lack of engagement from a lot of realtors out there, so I strongly encourage you, especially for the millennial generations, it is very, very, very important to really dive in and leverage the Facebook Lives, even the Snapchat, and really dive in and master those platforms.
That's a good point. So that brings up the fact that still offer the great service. There's a lot of things that technology can't do, but one of the things all of us need to do is understand the way people want to operate, communicate with us, right? Well,
and the thing is, out there, Joe, we call them disruptors. There's a lot of disruptors in other industries. Amazon, for instance, everywhere. For retail, Tesla in the car industry, and there's disruptors in the real estate industry and the lending industry. And John hit it right. We, as a company, as Century 1 M&M, we're always learning, we're always growing, and we're always adapting. It's not easy. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you don't want to do it. But if you don't, that's where you have to provide what the consumer wants. And sometimes what the consumer wants is not the way we did it yesterday.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Funny now. It wasn't funny at the time. As two youngsters starting out in the real estate business and eager to succeed and always looking to try something new. We were growing. We were adjusting. This is in the early 90s as the real estate book went out and the computer, the dial-up started coming on. Now and then we'd lose an agent and we'd go, but why? I thought you were a friend, because we were small enough. Why? I thought you were a friend.
Right.
Well, the broker down the street, they don't change anything. I'm tired of all these changes. This was 1990. They're not around today, but I'd like to say, Carlene, what happened? If you think 1990 was hard to change the last decade, because Facebook, Google, all those guys are only 10, 12 years old. Can you imagine in today's world?
You can't.
So
all right.
It is what it is.
It is. All right, we're going to take another quick break. The last one, we're going to get back in our last segment and finish up with these gentlemen. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220, or in the audience, come on up and ask. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back with you to continue and finish up in just a couple of minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're live from the Toll House Hotel, having our live event. A lot of fun here. Great group of people you can hear in the background. 3 to 4, the live radio show. We're going to roll into a mixer. If you're out there listening, come on down and join us. I'm joined today by some outstanding guests, John Melo and Larry Matos, who are the founders of Century 21 M&amp and Associates. Glad to have them here. And also Frank Fuentes. He's the National Vice President of Multicultural Lending with New American Funding. Gentlemen, thank you again. This has been a great show, a lot of fun.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, so we have one more quick segment here. What I'd like to do as we finish up is ask you guys a little bit about, before we depart here, is that what's the differentiating model? We talked about the future, where we think it's going. What are the things we have to be prepared for? So, Frank, I'll start with you. New American Funding, what separates New American Funding, in your opinion, your mind, out there of any other bankers, lenders, associations that are really helping people with home ownership? What's the difference? What do you need to do?
Sure. So, in my opinion, one of the things that differentiates New American Funding from other mortgage bankers in our league would be leadership. Our leadership is a very engaged leadership. It's not uncommon for our leaders to be out there at events such as this one. The owners of our company, which many times they don't have a need or obligation to be there, but they will make it a point to show up to grassroots real estate events. So number one, engaged leadership. Number two, I would say culture. I heard you guys mention it earlier. That's big. We have a very fun-like family culture at New American Funding. A lot of collaboration, a lot of focus groups that meet consistently, whether it's underwriting, marketing, processing. We're always collaborating, finding solutions together to common problems. Now, from a consumer perspective, I think one of the things that differentiates us is, number one, that we're very focused on providing transparency to the consumers. And one thing that I'm very proud of is the recent appointment of our president, Patty Arviello of New American Funding, to the CFPB. That's
quite an honor.
That's huge to have the president of your company be part of the CFPB, which is known as the mortgage police. So that's an important accolade that we recently are very proud of in New American Funding, that I think going forward will definitely set us apart when it comes to providing transparency to consumers, to millennials that are searching online and comparing options. Very
good. Thanks, Frank. John, Larry, what are your thoughts on the same question? You know, what do you have to do? What are you doing? What separates Century 21 M&amp and Associates from the industry that really makes you guys stand out, do you feel?
I think, it's about culture. Our Century 21 M&amp culture is different than any other real estate culture. We have many of our agents and managers are out here in the audience today. We've always been about that. We're truly a family. We're all in. And real estate is not part-time for us. We really engage with our team, with our agents, with our clients. We have a lot of large builder clients that I personally work with, our agents. We really social awareness. So we're really committed to what we do. We're committed to the process of how we do it, and we're really committed to the communities that we're in, because every community is different. So we do a lot of community involvement. We have M&amp Cares. We have our own foundation, which we've donated over $1 million over the last 4 or 5 years to great causes, local causes, where our offices are, and it's typically grassroots driven by our agents raising funds for. I'm wearing pink today because cancer awareness is around the corner. We have a lot of cancer survivors in our company. Some people are going through it now, so we're really about providing energy, hope, excitement, and a professional atmosphere for our team.
Very good. Anything on that?
I would just have to say that I agree with these gentlemen, and I think I want Frank to be my speechwriter.
There you go.
In case I
Look
run,
at that.
in case I run for office. But all kidding aside, we immigrated to this country in mid-'70s and started with nothing. And my family's background is dairy farming, so we're great farmers in the valley. And one thing I learned from my parents, he was my mom and my dad. My dad was one of the greatest business minds. And as a young kid, I learned that they hammered on all 13 of us. It's 14, but the one passed away. That they hammered that the most important thing in life is surround yourself with the very best people.
I agree.
And as parents today, that's what I do with our kids, is I'm more concerned who they hang with than anything else in life.
Yeah.
And so we learned that the best people, if you surround yourself with the best people, then you can achieve your goals and dreams. And so therefore, if you're looking for a great company, we have the best leadership, second to none, and we have the most experienced, knowledgeable, integrity realtors that you'll find anywhere. We're very proud to be M&amp and very proud of our folks. With that said, I understand somebody may say nobody's perfect. I get it. The imperfections are everywhere.
Right.
Sure. But you can't stop from reaching for that brass ring. That's and right. for the best. And so therefore we can honestly say, if you want to be part of a great company, any of our offices would be a great fit. And like Larry said, the buck stops here. And we've always said, because we acquire when we do mergers and acquisitions, I always stand in front of the new company that's coming on board and say, there's nothing we won't do for you. All you have to be is honest, reasonable, and give us a chance.
There you go. Very good. Unfortunately, running out of time. This went fast, didn't it?
It went too fast.
Good job.
I'm ready to start,
you ready?
Joe.
This
was just a practice run, right?
Yeah.
How about a round of applause for these guys? They did a great job, didn't they?
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. All right, I want to thank you in the audience. Thank you for the listenership again. It's been a great show. We're going to go into a mixer right now from 4 to 6. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Be sure to tune in Monday through Friday from 3 to 4 until tomorrow. Take care. Have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.